TNCRadio.LIVE, your commercial driver navigation station.
Good afternoon. This is TNCRadio.LIVE, and this is the Truckers Network Radio Show with your host, Shelley Johnson.
Thank you, Tom. I appreciate that. Yes, this is the Truckers Network Radio Show on TNCRadio.LIVE. We're all about the news, talk, information, and entertainment that drivers want to hear. You know, truckers travel everywhere as our frontline workers. They're exposed to a lot of people in their travels, and personal protection equipment is so important today. With mask mandates, a good mask that works and is reusable makes absolute sense. The Castle Grade G-Series masks are reusable respirator masks designed for everyday use, and they're a step above the rest. Each mask is made of lightweight silicone that forms to your face, leaves no marks, and has a tight seal. With us today is Dan Castle, who is managing partner of Castle Brand Group that markets major celebrities like Martha Stewart. He's also owner of Castle Grade that makes these masks. Welcome, Dan. Wow, you've got your hands into all kinds of things and very innovative.
Thank you so much, Ellie. It's a pleasure to be here. And first, I want to thank all the truckers that are listening today. You guys mean so much to us, just as regular, ordinary folks that are relying on you and every day to get what we need. And when I'm on the road and my kids are in the back of the car, we always ask them to pull their horn for us. And to me, it's the romantic American, dream of truckers sort of, running and building this country, which they've done. And they're more important now than ever. So anytime, whether I'm working with a major celebrity or I'm building a new product, they're always a category that is in the back of my mind that I often think about and how can I help them and make their days a little bit more comfortable. And so that we can talk a little bit about that today.
Yeah,
they really are frontline workers, and they put themselves basically in the kind of in the danger zone with a pandemic because they have to go everywhere. What brought about you coming up with this mask? You said you were kind of thinking of truckers and people who really need a good mask.
Yeah, so when last March, when COVID hit us hard, we lived, my wife and I lived in New York City at the time, and I bought one of those N95 masks. I knew that was the best mask to get, and I knew that the surgical masks were not as effective, and I knew the fashion masks were just that. They were fashion, and it wasn't about safety. It was more about fashion. So we were not going to get caught up into that. Also, half of the KN95 masks from Korea were fake. And that's now been proven by the FBI that 50% of the KN95s on the market are fake. So we didn't want to mess around with something like COVID. So what we did was, I went for a walk in this N95. I started to have a panic attack because I couldn't breathe. I felt for me, it was difficult to breathe in the mask. It was covering my entire face and no one recognized me. And I just said to my wife, I cannot go the next 3 or 4 months like this. I didn't know how long COVID was going to go. So what I did was get together with a former NASA scientist, an Israeli scientist that created this mask. And we literally created within 3 months, in my opinion, the most technically advanced mask that is also the lightest mask on the market that's reusable. We got FDA registered N95. It's really been an amazing journey. We had no idea how well that this was going to go and how many people were going to love this product, but it has actually changed a lot of people's lives, and especially people that are, have to be in close-knit situations and so on and so forth. So it's been an amazing journey, and we're almost approaching a year now. May 27th will be our 1-year anniversary. And we have about 60,000 customers around the country. And we've never had any of them report COVID to us. So for us, that is like the biggest accomplishment that we've had.
So you say it's reusable. How many times can it be reused?
You can use this mask for 2 to 2.5 years. And then it comes with replaceable filters. Each filter lasts approximately a week, or 32 hours of use, meaning 32 hours of breathing on the filter, and then you pop in another filter. And obviously you take the filter out, you throw it in the dishwasher, or you just wipe it down the way you would wipe down and disinfect anything. And it's very easy to use. It's very lightweight, and it has a patented air pocket. So the mask, because it's a medical grade silicone, it doesn't sort of, as you breathe in and breathe out, the mask doesn't sort of breathe in with you and sort of get into your mouth, which is what you see a lot with these cloth and fabric masks.
Yeah, I'm like you. It's a psychological thing, but also somehow the masks gag me. I feel like I'm not breathing. I'm not. And I know at some level that's just wrong. That of course I can breathe, but to be able to have something that doesn't feel like it's doing that to you would be that'd be awesome.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we don't know how long COVID is going to be around and when the next, COVID-19, COVID 2021. I mean, there's already crazy variants out there. Brazil is a mess. That what they have coming out there is now affecting children, which we haven't had yet. So when that gets here, we're going to need to be ready. Fall, we'll have a sort of a little bit of downtime now, and then the fall it'll really kick up. Just because the same way the flu comes around, COVID will come around. And so the expert scientific modelers are saying that fall is going to be a real doozy, and we don't know what's going to happen. I hope it goes away. But it might just become like another flu. And one of the unexpected benefits of this mask that I enjoyed is I didn't even get a runny nose this year. Usually I'm the type of person that like every month I'll get something. I'll get my wife will say, "Oh, you got another man cold," and I'll be like curled up in bed with a high fever. I haven't even gotten a runny nose. So I'm sort of addicted to how healthy I've felt this last week, and I don't really know if I'm ever going to just give up a mask. I'm not saying I'm going to wear it all the time. I am now until they figure, until we make more progress. But if I'm on a plane or a train or in one of those environments where there's tons of people right next to me, I have no problem wearing a mask like this that I can just pop on and not have to worry about someone sneezing in my face. God knows what they have.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Absolutely. So this fits tightly to your face, but it's comfortable and it does keep out the virus. Am I correct?
So it's a form-fitting mask. Mm-hmm. So what it means is that there's a 360 degree seal. So what we did is I had someone who was working in my house put on he's a big cigar smoker. He was doing some work in my house and he smoked in the cigar. You could see it on our Instagram. A Castle Grade is the Instagram handle. Mm-hmm. That's CASTLE grade, GRADE. And he inhaled the cigar, put on the surgical mask, and then he exhaled. And the smoke came out of 25 different crevices in that mask. If that's what you think is going to protect you, then you're sorely mistaken. Then he did our mask. He inhaled, he put our mask on, and he exhaled. And all you saw was like a little sliver, tiny little sliver of smoke come out through the center, which goes through a 4-ply medical grade filter that has over 98% filtration efficiency, according to Nelson Labs in Utah. So the difference, if you see that video on our Instagram or Facebook, is like night and day. And so, yeah, it's very light. It weighs as much as a pen, the mask. And I find a lot of these other masks they're getting heavier. They're adding all these compartments to it, and now they're electrical. You got to charge them, and they hook up to an app, and it doesn't need to be that complicated.
They look like something out of Star Wars.
We're called the Darth Vader mask. That's what they call us.
Okay.
And in fact, the Disney reached out to us and said our cast and crew of Magnum PI in Hawaii, they're filming in Hawaii right now, want us to look at your mask for approval for the set.
Oh, that's very cool.
And yeah, we actually sent them our labs from Nelson Labs in Utah, which is a great laboratory. It's a American owned lab. A lot of these other mask companies go to these labs in God knows where you can pay anybody off. We don't do that. So we've spent $40,000 on lab lab tests with Nelson, and we've scored over 95 on all of our tests.
Awesome.
And yeah, it looks like, so when Disney actually approved us, it was sort of funny because they own the Darth Vader name. So it was ironic.
So does this mask keep from fogging up your glasses? I know that's one of the beefs a lot of people have.
Yes. So that was actually why it was initially created. The original inventor in Israel's mother lived in an old age home, and she said, I can't see anything. I keep bumping into walls. I'm going to die. Everyone's dying in these old age homes. No one cares about us. And I'm either going to fall down the stairs or I'm going to get COVID. I cannot wear these masks that keep fogging up my glasses. So she created an initial version of this mask. I perfected it with my years of experience in product development, but it was never, always the goal was to make sure that it's not fogging up your glasses.
Yeah, because that's really inconvenient for people when they're wearing sunglasses or corrective lenses. It's not fun. We're talking with Dan Castle, who's managing partner of Castle Brand Group and owns Castle Grade. We'll be back here on TNCRadio.LIVE after this with more. This is the Truckers Network radio show on TNCRadio.LIVE. I'm Shelley Johnson here with Tom Kelly. We're talking with Dan Castle, who is owner of Castle Grade, that makes the Castle Grade G-Series masks, which are reusable respirator masks. These sound amazing, Dan. You said that they don't fog up your glasses. They work better. They're comfortable. Mm-hmm. And you said that you were talking to one of the drivers who said he really loves it. It's comfortable to wear. That's not something normally people say about masks.
Yeah, the funny thing is, when I first started wearing this mask, I went into the shower one day and I didn't realize I still had it on. That's when I knew
wow.
That's when I knew we had a winner.
Yeah.
And I also wanted to say this. I'll talk about the negatives of the mask as well. So, the positives are the breathability is fantastic. Obviously, if you have allergies or some sort of a nasal issue, you're going to have a hard time until that clears up. That's just how it is, because you need to be able to breathe cleanly from both your nose and your mouth for a mask that's form-fitting like this to do well for you. Mm-hmm. So if you have allergies or a stuffy nose, it's not going to be the mask for you or until that clears up. The other thing is we have 2 sizes. We have 3 sizes. We have a G7 for kids up to from ages 6 to 11 is the G7 kids mask. I've not found a safer mask than the G7 kids mask. So if you're worried about what's happening, the B117 variant and what's happening with kids, that's the mask you want to get them, is the G7.
How do kids react to it?
Sorry?
How do kids react to it? Do they keep it on? And
we haven't. I mean, we can't accept returns because it's PPE, but it's the only product that's not. There's never been a request for a return for our kids' masks. They are absolutely obsessed with it. Maybe it's because they see the superheroes wearing it. We've had Ryan Reynolds mocked up in it that a lot of people have seen, and the Wolverine, Hugh Jackman. Also is mocked up on it by a very famous artist. A lot of the kids, I think, see their heroes wearing it in art. And then the other thing I would mention is if you have a small face, the G8 is comparable to a 3M small. And then a G9 is what I wear. It's an average size face. If it works for 75% of people, men and women, is the G9. We call it the G9 medium large. And then we're working on the G10 or the T10, we're calling it. It's going to be larger. It's going to have some new features to it. It'll probably be out in 2 to 3 months. That's for you if you are overweight or have an extra large face or a long face, because it's form fitting. So the mask does not go over your chin. It goes from the on the top of your just under your eye to the middle of your chin. So it does not go over your chin. It's form fitting. So it has a seal that it creates, and you can adjust the straps. But while we were on commercial break, I had a code set up for all of our truckers out there. We've actually never offered a code like this with such a steep discount. But if you go to castlegrade.com and you put in the discount code when you're checking out right above the credit card, trucker20, lowercase trucker20, you will get 20% off of your order. So that's something we just wanted to do as a thank you to everybody that's out there from the trucker community.
That's fantastic. Yes, there's so many drivers. They're looking for good masks. They have to wear them, obviously, when they go into public places and all of that, too. And to have something that's reusable and it's comfortable to wear, I think that would help, too, because I think that some people just really, they have a mask aversion. So having something that's comfortable, they're going to be more likely to wear it, too.
Yep, and we're really proud of it. We're proud of the health record that we have. On social media, people will tell you anything that's bothering them. We know when people are brushing their teeth in the morning. Unfortunately, they give so much information to us. We have not had anyone say to us, we've gotten COVID wearing your mask. So all we get are the nicest emails from people, nurses, doctors, dentists, regular folks, just saying, I can't believe you've kept our family safe. Our kids are safe. We just have avoided all of the dangers that have come with this terrible virus, and we can't thank you enough. And so it's just a really nice thing to get these types of emails every single day.
I have a fairly thick beard. How does it work with people with beards?
So I actually thought it was not going to work with beards. So I started off when we launched the company saying, if you have a beard, you're probably not going to get a seal, and don't worry, skip it.
Yeah.
But oh my God, immediately people with beards, because they just needed an option that worked, started writing us that because you can adjust the straps, we do an around the head strap, which gives you like a much tighter hold of your mask and a really good seal. But then we added ear straps that also you can adjust tighter as well. Both of them are loved by bearded folks, and we actually have a section of our Facebook and Instagram just for bearded people, and they all post pictures of themselves with their beards wearing the mask. So we're actually really proud of that. The head of production at Disney is one of those people. He has a beard, and he's the one that requested Disney to approve our mask, and he's a fellow beard man as well. So. Yep, I don't want to speak for people that have beards, but they speak for themselves, and we post their reviews online.
Cool.
Yeah, this is a very cool mask, and you can use it for other things too, can't you? If you're doing some sanding, dealing with particulate that you don't want to get up your nose, particularly with people who have allergies. This mask would be perfect too, wouldn't it?
Yeah, so actually it's a good point. We have a huge customer base on the West Coast. So California, Washington State, Oregon, they love our mask. And what we found was that so many of our customers were saying that the smoke from the fires were causing headaches for their family and they couldn't sleep at night. Some of them were wearing a mask to sleep because of how bad the fires have been on the West Coast. So we created, we think we have one of the best 4-ply filters in the industry. And so we said, let's charcoal infuse it. And so we have a charcoal premium infused 4-ply filter that you can pop in and pop out if you're in a smoke affected area, or if you work in an industry that has fumes that could be toxic. So people that clean silver and jewelry like our mask, people that are in the eyebrow industry, that the glues that they use on those products create a fume when they're lit that are very harmful and toxic. People that work with cadavers, supposedly there's some fumes that are given off, especially with the opioid epidemic. So there's a lot of people that need they have to have charcoal filter for their industry, and so we created that, and we're finding that a lot of regular families on the West Coast are using our charcoal filter for the smoke.
Excellent. Well, I know I have allergies, and anytime that I get into a situation where I'm going to be dealing with a lot of dust, because I have dust allergies, I've always worn a mask. So something like this would be perfect.
Yeah, we were wondering about that. A lot of people were saying, especially in Georgia, the pollen here is so thick, everything turns yellow for the next 4 weeks.
Oh, sure.
And everyone said, how does it do with allergies? I said, I don't know. You let me know. I have no idea. We haven't been around that long. But every time something comes around, it seems like we have an opportunity to fix a problem, and that might be another one.
I like the fact that the filter lasts 32 hours, you said?
It's 32 hours of breathing. So like
Okay.
if you wore it, let's say 8 hours a day,
Mm-hmm.
right? So you could go 4 days wearing that, 4 shifts of 8 hours.
Mm-hmm.
That is what I'm talking about. The other thing is, let's say you only wear it for an hour a day. You still have to replace it at the end of 7 days, after 7 days. And the reason for that is that the enemy of a filter is moisture. And the reason is that a good filter has an electrostatic charge that actually attracts the particulates. So if you hold our filter up to sort of like the window and it's a sunny day and you see those little tiny particulates floating in the air, you'll see them gravitate to the filter and stick to it. That's a sign of a good filter. Filters actually, they catch the particulates. They attract the particulates. They don't actually filter them. That's misleading. So a good filter has that electrostatic charge. You lose that charge after you start breathing on it for a prolonged period of time. That's why a lot of the surgical masks, you can only wear them for 1 day. People are reusing surgical masks. They're getting COVID and they're wondering why. First of all, you would need 5 surgical masks on top of each other, would still be about 20% less protective than our mask. 5 surgical masks on top of each other. Wow. So one form-fitting mask with over 95% filtration efficiency is better than at least 5 surgical masks on top of each other. But we've created a filter that lasts for, a good amount of time. And, they're going for about, $2 each. Some of these N95s are going for $5 to $10 each, and you can only wear them for 1 day. So it's been a big benefit from a cost perspective as well.
Yeah, you go out and try to buy some of the other masks online. They're substandard and they're really overpriced. It's really crazy. And then when you buy them, they're too small. They're substandard. And I think people are confused. What is going to be good for me to buy? We're going to find out more from Dan Castle here on TNCRadio.LIVE. Stay tuned. This is the Truckers Network radio show on TNCRadio.LIVE. I'm Shelley Johnson with Tom Kelly. We're talking with Dan Castle, who's the owner of Castle Grade, which makes the Castle Grade G-Series masks that are reusable respirator masks. Dan, you said while we were talking off air that you actually created your mask for COVID, which is really exciting. And you were saying that surgical masks were not. I was wondering if you could tell our listeners the difference between a surgical mask and your mask and how it's better for COVID.
So actually, most masks were not designed for COVID. If they were designed pre-COVID, then they were not thinking of COVID, did not have COVID in mind. So there's 2 masks that concern me and I think have been a big reason why we're in the situation that we're in today with so many deaths. Let's just talk about the surgical mask. That is a complete joke of a mask when it comes to COVID. That mask has never worked for COVID properly. It's better than nothing, but it's not going to give you that sense of, oh, I'm good. I can be in this situation and come out. There's a 95% chance I'm going to be safe. This is what after so many people wearing surgical masks, this is what the CDC now says. Comparing a surgical mask to an N95 respirator, the filtration for a surgical mask, and this is in the CDC's words now on their website, does not provide the wearer with a reliable level of protection from inhaling smaller airborne particles and is not considered respiratory protection versus an N95, which it filters out at least 95% of airborne particles, including large and small particles. Now, this is when it says, what about the seal of the mask? It says the surgical is loose fitting versus an N95 respirator, which is tight fitting. Now, this is not a pair of jeans. Like, you do not want anything loose fitting when you're dealing with something like COVID, which has killed so many people. The other mask that really concerns me aside from surgical masks are the masks that you see which have those square or circular vents. Now, anytime you see a mask that has a square or 2 circles on either side or a circle in the middle, those are vents and valves. Run. When that person is wearing that mask, they may be safe, but when they cough or when they breathe or when they speak, what that does, it allows everything in their bodies that they're breathing out to leave and exhale into yours. There's no protection when you see a valve and a vent for the people that are around the wearer. So when we created our mask, we created a mask that didn't have any valves or vents. Air does not go in or come out of our mask unless it goes through our medical grade 4-ply filter. That is the most important thing. I know you'll see our mask, you'll see, hey, what are those little holes? Yeah, behind those little holes is a 4-ply filter that's airtight. So that is what you want. Everything going in and out through a top quality 4-ply filter like the Castle grade mask.
You've got me sold here. I know a lot of people will also talk about being claustrophobic. My sister had put on an N95 mask, and she said she couldn't wear it because she got real claustrophobic. Your mask doesn't do that, does it?
So correct. So the problem with an N95 mask that I had, and again, that's one of the best masks that you can wear. The problem that we had with it is the mask is the filter and the filter is the mask. So the entire thing that you're draping over your face, where you can basically only see the person's eyes at that point and a little bit of their forehead and ears, that is a filter. And so you are just basically putting something, it feels like you're smothering your face with a towel, covers your almost 75% of your face. That's not a good feeling for people that have sensory issues. Whereas our mask is form-fitting, so it's only covering the nose and the mouth. It's not covering your cheeks, not covering, the area under your eyes or the sides of your faces or under your chin. So it's literally just covering what needs to be covered. And that's why somebody who's claustrophobic prefers our mask.
Well, and I would imagine people don't want to wear a mask in the first place. So your mask with its design just makes sense.
I mean, even our biggest customers are dentists and nurses. And the reason that they're our biggest customer is because they are not taken care of by the government. So nurses in general, you'll see them wearing surgical masks in the hospital, and then you'll see the fancy doctors wearing the N95. So in a lot of situations, the nurses are not given the protection that they need, or they're asked to reuse N95s daily. So here, we'll give you an N95, but you have to wear it for 3 months. That's not what N95s are meant to wear for one day, and you throw them in the trash, and then they end up in landfills. That's horrible for both you and for the planet. Our mask, you buy our mask, you're good for 2.5 years, and you just pop in the filters as you need them.
Which it's a much better alternative. Certainly.
It is, and then we did a cost analysis. To buy an N95 mask versus our mask, our mask is under $50. In some cases, well, for truckers that they're listening now, if you put in truckers 20 at castlegrade.com, you will get the 20% off. So you're paying under $40 for a mask that you can keep for 2.5 years. And we've also added the Castle case, which is the first non-plastic mask case that will improve the life of both the mask and the filters when you store it. And it's made of stainless steel. And that is, to me, what you should buy a mask and be done, and not have to worry about going to the store and buying another couple hundred surgical masks that just are not as effective. So we wanted to just make it simple. You buy one of our masks, the filters will come on auto ship. You can subscribe and be a member, and we'll just ship you the filters, once a month or once every 2 months, whatever you desire. But you shouldn't have to think about it. You should just be sort of get your mask and be done.
Sure. And now the case that you put it in, that keeps it from being in humidity and so forth, that it can affect the electrostatic filter. Am I correct?
Correct. So you want to keep your mask and your filter dry because moisture is the enemy. So we've created an airtight case called the Castle case, which you can also purchase on castlegrade.com. And the masks, all sizes, will fit comfortably into that Castle case. And we also made it look really cool. It looks like something out of a James Bond movie. So we can, neat. Yeah. So we think everything that we do has to also look good. But we never sacrifice safety for fashion, which is what you'll start seeing a lot of these ads on Facebook and Instagram for these fashion masks. They're trendy, and this, mine turns into a scrunchie, or my mask turns into a bracelet. I mean, that is a joke. This is life and death. Like, you do not want to be playing around with this. And yes, a lot of people don't like wearing masks. So if you're going to have to wear one and you want to stay safe, and you're in a high risk situation, you're diabetic or you're overweight, or you just are more prone, you have a low immunization, you don't want to mess around with it. And especially if you're pregnant or expecting to be pregnant, you want to have the best possible mask. I think you want to have the best safety always. But you don't want to hate it. You don't want to be uncomfortable all day. So, I think one of the reasons we've done so well is because people actually enjoy wearing our mask. It's not torture.
Yeah, that's not something you normally hear people say. And I see people taking their mask off, playing with it, cleaning their glasses with their masks. It's like, wait a minute.
Right.
That's not good.
No, that's called cross-contamination. So you've got the particulates of the virus. The virus will travel on your saliva. Have you ever spoken on speakerphone on your phone and then looked at your screen after your phone call? That is, you need Windex, right? So that's what's happening when you're speaking. And so what you want is a mask that's going to keep all that stuff in, and also anyone around you, keep it out. Again, surgical mask is better than nothing, but it's not a very effective mask when it comes to COVID, as the CDC states.
Well, I'm very glad you came up with this mask. You've got me sold, that's for sure.
Yeah, we had a doctor on who's part of the, I guess he's the head of pulmonary at UTMB, and was talking about the size of the particles that make up the virus versus how much opening you have in a surgical mask, and it was shocking. This virus is very, very, very small. And
it's very small, but I just want to say one thing, and this is one of the biggest mistakes people make. When you look online and you start to see how small the actual virus has been measured at, that is a naked measurement of the virus.
That's where I was going. Yeah.
Is that okay? So for those listeners who don't understand what that means, is somebody is separating the virus from everything else and saying this is the smallest version of the virus, and so it's 0.001 microns, for example. Oh, but your mask only filters above 95% on 0.03 microns. So isn't their virus going to get through? No, because the virus needs to attach to something, and it doesn't separate and then go for a run. It has to be attached to your saliva in the case of a respiratory disease. And so your saliva is bigger than 0.01 in most cases, and that is why masks are so effective.
Right.
Because you're not the virus is not naked when it's going from your mouth into somebody else's.
Makes sense. I think you've explained it a lot better than most, because it's complicated. People are like, well, how big is this darn thing? So we're speaking with Dan Castle. He's owner of Castle Grade, the Castle Grade G-Series masks. We'll be right back with more information from Dan here on TNCRadio.LIVE. Definitely stay tuned. This is the Truckers Network radio show on TNCRadio.LIVE. I'm Shelley Johnson with Tom Kelly. We're talking with Dan Castle, who's the owner of Castle Grade, which makes the Castle Grade G-Series respirator masks. Dan, you've been a wonderful source of information on what makes masks safe for everyone with COVID. I've learned a lot right here. I'm impressed with the scientific innovation that went into your product. I also understand you have another product coming out that's going to be perfect for truckers.
Yeah, so first I want to say that I didn't want to get into this mask business. This was not something, this was created out of necessity because I just could not wear what was available in the market. As we said, the surgical masks I knew were not very effective. Yes, more effective than nothing, but very ineffective when it really came to beating this virus and keeping it away. And then the sort of fancy N95s were very expensive and they were in shortage. So I had to come up with something because I didn't like either options. I didn't want to spend $5 to $10 and then $95 that had to be thrown out, and I didn't want to wear a surgical mask because I knew it wouldn't be the security that I needed. I've been working on a device for people that have to sit for long periods of time for several years, and this was what I've been working on. It's called Castle Flex with 2 X's. We have a Facebook page, Castle Flex, and we have an Instagram page, Castle Flex. We're launching in May. This device we've now tested it for several years. We're already working with some of the major sports teams. And what it does, it allows you to stretch your legs, your plantar fascia. A lot of people get plantar fasciitis. It's very excruciating. The device also stretches your lower and upper calf muscle, your hamstring, and helps reduce pain in your lower back. Because if you have tight legs, that's where the pain is going to be. The pain is going to be in your lower back, so that they're all connected. And this device, Castle Flex, is the device I'm so excited about, and it's perfect for truckers. And when you're sitting in a truck for many hours, your body is not circulating the blood the way it's supposed to. You're not man is not built to be sitting in a chair or a seat for that amount of time. We just are not. So from the beginning of the caveman days, we've been running and walking and gathering and hunting, and we are not meant to be sitting. So I wanted to create, because truckers are so important, I wanted to create something that would, make people's lives a lot easier, reduce a lot of their lower back pain, and allow them to feel increased blood circulation, have better flexibility, which would then lead to better mobility. And that is Castle Flex, which is launching, and patented, which is launching in May.
Sounds awesome. Now, I would imagine that alleviates pain and does all kinds of things for drivers.
I mean, you have to try it to believe it, but it's the kind of stretch that has never been done before. It's a unique way of stretching. It doesn't require any batteries, or you don't have to plug anything in. You don't need to set up an app. It's super simple. It's once you do the stretch, you'll say, I just cannot believe that stretching is this easy and could feel so good. And I could get so good at it in such a short period of time. But there hasn't really been any device out there to really assist you with stretching that's easy to use, practical, and also is, by the way, good for the planet. We are making our device out of natural cork, stainless steel, and recycled plastic water bottles. So it's another very high quality device, similar to Castle Grade. It will be patented, and we will be the exclusive seller of this product.
Excellent. And you said that's coming out next month?
It will be coming out in approximately May 15th to May 27th, but we've already started production.
Excellent. So people would be looking at Castle Flex, and you said Flex is spelled Flexx?
Yes, just follow along on Facebook and Instagram so that when we do launch, you get it first. We're also going to be doing a special for truckers.
You've got some phenomenal products here, and you've got a phenomenal background too, Dan. You've worked with celebrities, marketing for them. I don't know if you wanted to take a minute and maybe chat a little bit about that. Tell everybody.
Sure. I've been working in the licensing business for a long time, working with lots of different celebrities. Jessica Simpson, Justin Timberlake, Martha Stewart, Amanda Cerny, Haha Davis, just a bunch of Jason Wu, the fashion designer. And my job has always been to help them become more successful and help them launch new partnerships. And I've always focused on product partnerships. And if there's a product that they're passionate about, that they should get behind it, and they should either build it and I can help them build it, or they can attach to something that exists in the market and help them strike a deal. So it's always been in my background to build and find the unique products that are going to change their respective industries. It got to a point where I'd seen the success that I had for some of these celebrities. When I had started with Martha Stewart in 2015, she was, no one was returning our phone calls. She was a felon who was 76 years old. She was a has-been. That was what people were telling me when I made my phone call saying, it's my first day of work for Martha. What do you think about a deal? It was pretty bad. It took me about 24 months to revive her career. And I would say she's back on top now. We've had 3 Super Bowl commercials in a row. So that's pretty much the holy grail of celebrity endorsements.
I would say so.
So it got to a point where I said, well, it's time to do it for me. And so it's funny. Martha Stewart was the first celebrity to post about Castle Grade. She said it's a well-designed mask. It's easy to wear. It's light. And she posted about it. We did $40,000 in sales that day.
That's awesome. Where do people find your masks? We have less than a minute, Dan.
It's very simple. castlegrade.com.
TNCRadio.LIVE, your commercial driver navigation station.
Hi, this is Tom Kelly, managing partner of IMSICO LLC, doing business as TNCRadio.LIVE. The website TNCRadio.LIVE and any content or podcast related to the website are copyrights of IMSICO LLC, copyright 2021. All rights reserved. Any redistribution or reproduction of all or any part of the contents in any form is prohibited other than the following. We welcome you to download and play the publicly available podcast and share with others for personal use. Please acknowledge TNCRadio.LIVE as the source of the material. You may not, except with our express written permission, distribute or commercially exploit the content. And while we endeavor to keep the information up to date and correct, we make no representations or warranties of any kind expressed or implied about the completeness, accuracy, reliability, suitability, or availability with respect to the website, the podcast, or the information, products, services, or related graphics contained on the website or podcast for any purpose. Any reliance you place on such information is therefore strictly at your own risk. For additional information, including details regarding monetization of this podcast, send email to podcasts@tncradio.live.